Hey everybody, welcome back to the channel. Liam here, and in today's video we're doing an unboxing review of the new Insta360 Motorcycle Magic Arm mount for your motorcycle. Now this is a brand new product from Insta360, and it's loosely based on a design concept that I gave them about a year ago, because I was talking to one of their media folks and I was telling her that I love their cameras. I've been using Insta360 cameras for a few years now, but they had very limited motorcycle mounting options. And so I gave them like 3 different design ideas for different types of motorcycle mounts, and this one actually ended up coming to market. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not trying to take credit for this product. It's based on an idea that I gave her to pass along to their engineering team, and they made quite a few tweaks and refinements from my original concept. And I just think it's really cool. I just wanted to mention that. I think it's really cool that Insta360 is the kind of company, like some of the other companies out there, Sony and others, that will actually listen to feedback from their customers and come out with new products or enhancements for existing products or whatever the case may be. So today we're going to do an unbox of this so you can see everything that you get in the box, and then I'm going to go ahead and film myself mounting it on my Kawasaki Ninja behind me. And actually, in this portion of the video, since I'm shooting it a little bit out of sequence, the mount is already on my motorcycle. So just so you don't think I'm crazy or you're crazy or whatever the case may be, I did shoot this portion after the actual install portion. So you'll have to bear with me on that. But let's go ahead and take a look in the box and see exactly what we get inside. Okay, so here we have the brand new Insta360 Motorcycle Magic Arm. We're going to be putting this on my Kawasaki Ninja today. So let's go ahead and open the box and see what all we have inside. We have the instruction paperwork from Insta360. And we'll set that aside, and we pull off this foam. And underneath we have all of the components for this particular motorcycle mount. So we have the base part of the mount. Now this is designed to actually go into the left handlebar. So what you do, like on my sport bike, is there's an Allen bolt that holds the weight. There's weights on the end of the handlebars to reduce the vibration as you ride. So what we do is we'll back out that bolt and replace it with this assembly here, and then thread it in tight. And then we have the ability to swivel. We have this mount here. We can take this part off and replace it with this longer mount so we can get a little bit more height. And then we also have this little bag right here, which contains additional spacers like this one here. And it also contains some hex keys or Allen wrenches that you would use to do the assembly process. So we're going to go ahead and put this on my Kawasaki Ninja today and see if we can't get her all set up and go out and have some fun with my Insta360 cameras. So come along with me as we assemble this bad boy. Okay, so now what we're going to do here is we're going to take this counterweight for my handlebar off. You see I've already got it started a little bit loose there. And we're going to go ahead and spin this the rest of the way off so that we can, whoops, let me move the camera back just a little bit so that we can put the Insta360 mount on here along with the counterweight. Alright, so we're getting there, almost there. Let me see, I could probably finish it by hand now. So let's give it a try. Right there's the bolt. And come on, girl. Alright, so that's what the whole thing looks like. So, darn it. So, what we have is we have the bolt. And that, whoops, keep dropping things here. We got the bolt, and we got, we got the counterweight, and we got a washer for it. So now what we're going to do is on this spot here, we're going to put all this together along with the Insta360 mount and see if we can't get it all hooked up, tightened down, and all that good stuff. Okay, so these pieces right here, these adapters, are too big for my current counterweight on my handlebar. But Insta360 does give them to you in different sizes. So now I've got to take all 4 of these hex key bolts out here, I believe, in order to separate this assembly so I can swap out this one for one of the smaller ones. So I'm going to do that now, and I'm not going to bore you and make you guys watch me do 4 screws. Okay, so the nice thing about the hex keys the Insta360 gives you with the kit is I took out the 4 bolts here, and as you can see, this lifts off. And then down inside here, we got to loosen this one up with the other key they give you. And that's what allows you to take apart this and swap out the spacers, or whatever you want to call them, with a different size. So that's what I'm going to do now. We're going to undo this. As you can see, the bolt is coming out. And we'll be able to change out those spacers shortly here. Yep, I got one off. One half of it came off. So now we'll just keep going until we get the other half off, and then we'll size up the other ones to my existing handlebar end cap, weighted end cap, and we'll see which one is going to fit best to put all this back together. Okay, so just to keep you apprised of everything I've had to do for this, the original bolt that came out of my weight cap here wasn't quite long enough, so I ended up having to go to Lowe's and get a longer bolt. For my particular bike, it's a 5/16 18, 2 inches long is what I needed. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put that bolt in place of the one that was in this assembly from Insta360, and then I put my weighted cap on here, put the washer inside, and now I have to put the entire assembly back on to my handlebar, clamp bar. They call these clamp bars, I guess. I think that's what they call them. Because it's not a solid handlebar all the way across like you'd have on a cruiser. So what I'm doing now is I'm putting this together, and I want to get everything, this part, tightened down, locked down, so it's going to be good and snug, because I don't want anything, coming apart when I'm riding. That would be catastrophic. So we're doing that. We're going to get this put together, and then we're going to reassemble the rest of the Insta360 mount so that we can put the rest of it together, and then put my action camera on it and test it out on a road test or something like that. I just got to make sure I get it tightened enough, because I don't want any of these parts spinning freely if I can avoid it. I want to keep them tightened down like this was before I started putting this new assembly together. So we got that done. This still turns a little bit. I could probably use another washer here. I could probably put one here. I'd have to go up and find one in my tool shed, because I don't think the kit came with one that's going to be the right size. No, I don't see one here. But I think as long as it doesn't move super easy, I think it'll be okay, because generally you're holding on to this part anyways. So this is more of a vibration dampening. That's what these cap weights do, is they reduce the amount of vibration in the handlebars, and that translates to your hand and arms. So we got that put together. We're good there. So now what we're going to want to do is reassemble this part where I took those 4 bolts out. I got to put that little piece back in there. This piece here, of course, that goes inside here, and then put its 4 bolts back in, if I can do it without losing them. But and I apologize for the stupid log trucks going by. I don't know why they run this road illegally all the time. I've complained to the state of North Carolina. I've complained all the way to the governor, and nobody seems to care or do anything about it, even though these people are breaking the law day in and day out, driving up and down this road when it has a weight limit restriction. So anyways, I am going to finish assembling this without trying to bore you to death too much. I got to find what the heck I did with the little teeny tiny hex key that puts those tiny screws back in. I know it's here somewhere. I just got to find it. There it is. Okay. So now we're gonna finish assembling the rest of this. Putting the rest of the mount from Insta360 back together with the handlebar cap and everything. And then once I have this all locked down, then we'll be pretty much good to go. So let me go ahead and put these 4 bolts back in, get them torqued down and all that good stuff. And then we'll continue from there. I'll show you what it looks like once the whole thing is put together. Okay, so now I'm resuming as I put the 4th one of these tiny hex screws in here to hold this center cap piece on this part of the mount. I didn't want to make you guys watch, you know, me putting in all 4 of them. I didn't want to bore you to death, but that gives you a good idea of how it goes together, and I did want to include that. So if you're watching this, you know, you'll know exactly what you're getting into, what you're tackling. And it's not bad. I mean, I'm not super mechanically inclined. I've never been much of a mechanic, that sort of thing, but I do like tinkering with stuff like this, especially if it's something that piques my interest. You know, anything motorcycle related always piques my interest because I've been a big motorcycle fan all my life. My parents got me my first bike when I was 10 years old, an old Kawasaki 80 trail bike that the previous owner's dad had put a Kawasaki 125 dirt bike engine into. Because the 80cc trail bike engine, I guess, got blown up or something. Now, see, it's a little bit loose here, and I don't like that. So, I'm going to have to find another washer to put here between the 2 pieces so that everything will hopefully lock down a little bit tighter. So, I'm going to go find one of those. I'll take this all apart, put it back together, but I won't make you guys watch all of that. I don't want to bore you too much. Okay, so now that I got the whole thing back together, I've got a metal washer in between these 2, which made this all lock down much tighter. And I've got this adjustment locked down as well. Now this not only controls the pivot of the end cap part, when you back it off enough, allows you to turn it, but it also controls the ball head here on top. So when you lock that down, it stops this from moving too. Now, if you want more length, you just screw this piece on the top, this extra arm, like so. Let me back up my camera just a little bit, and we'll maybe change the angle just a little bit. There we go. That's a little bit better. Okay, so now we have this, and we have this on. If we want to give the camera, we're going to put on here a little more height. And then, of course, we got the standard action camera finger mount, which would screw on here. Or if you're like my Insta360 Ace Pro, which I'm currently filming on, that has a machined aluminum mount on the bottom of it that has the magnetic quick disconnect that the standard Insta360 cameras all use. But when you have that on, that snapped into the bottom of your camera, it gives it the fingers for this kind of mount, but it also has a 1/4-20 in the center. So it has flip down fingers like the newer GoPros do with their built-in fingers. Or you can just leave the fingers folded up and just go without this and just screw directly onto the 1/4-20 right here on the top. And then you're all set. So I'm going to run in the house and I'm going to grab my Insta360 X3 so I can show you what it looks like once the entire thing is on there and ready to ride. Okay, now as you can see, I've got my Insta360 X3 360-degree camera successfully mounted on the 1/4-20 portion of this Insta360 Motorcycle Magic Arm mount, and I am good to go. And then, of course, you know, just like I was saying before in the previous clip, if I wanted to use my Ace Pro 2, which I'm currently filming this on, I would just have this, you know, take this back off and using that same 1/4-20 or the 3-finger mount adapter I showed you earlier, and I could put my Ace Pro 2 here and have it pointed directly at me while I'm riding and just film myself kind of vlogging style. But the nice thing about using something like the Insta360 X3 or the X4 or X5 is being it's a 360-degree camera, it can not only film me, but it can film what's ahead of my bike at the same time. And then I can manipulate, you know, which field of view I want to have in my video in post-production. So I can do all of that, keyframing and any of that stuff when I'm doing my post-production part. So it's pretty cool. It's pretty slick. So that is the Insta360. Let me move some of my stuff here. Motorcycle Magic Arm is what it's called. And this will allow you to have your action camera with you at all times on your bike and have it on a good secure mount that's not going to get in your way. I've used other types of mounts in the past. I have a ball mount. Hold on, let me show you what it looks like. I have this this ball over here that I can put a double clamp piece on, and then I have an invisible selfie stick that has a ball on it as well, and the two balls get clamped into this double clamp, and then I can have a really tall invisible selfie stick that goes up on this side of the bike. And sometimes I would lean it out, but you got to be careful doing that because you don't want to cause a hazard to other vehicles when you're on the road. So, you know, I do like to use that, but I just think this new Motorcycle Magic Arm by Insta360 is a much better option. That, you know, that's just my opinion. Maybe you agree, maybe you don't, but I think, you know, this is great. And the thing that really impresses me the most is the way Insta360 listens to their customers. So to give you an idea what I'm talking about, I had Insta360 reach out to me, a person from their media department reach out to me a year or so ago, and I did some not sponsored or paid videos or anything like that, but I did a video on some Insta360 stuff, as well as, you know, my cameras that I bought myself and all that good stuff. And I was talking to this person at Insta360, and I said, hey, you know, right now, your selection of mounting options for motorcycles is extremely limited. And I'm not trying to take credit or anything like that. I don't want you to think that. All I care about is it's beneficial to all of us that ride. So I threw at her to pass on to their engineers the idea for a mount this style. The idea I had was slightly different, but I really like the way their final product turned out. Now, don't get me wrong, I'm not saying that I invented this. I don't want you to think that. I just threw some ideas at them to think about in order to come up with new accessories that they could offer motorcycle riders like myself and all of you out there that ride and like to take your action cameras with you. And I just think it's fantastic that Insta360 is the kind of company that'll actually listen to their customers. And, you know, if you give them an idea that they think sounds like a good idea, they're going to take it to their engineering team and see what they can come up with. And I think it's really fantastic that they did that. I had also thrown at them the idea of coming up with another motorcycle mount that would work. So the original mount that I had here was actually replacing half of my brake fluid reservoir system with this other piece that's shaped just like this, but had one of these balls permanently affixed to the top of it. And that's what I was initially using. And then I decided, instead of doing that, because it was a little bit crowded here, you know, having it right there, I decided to take that back off, put the original factory collar back on, and I found one of these aluminum balls for this kind of mount on Amazon, and it's got a bolt, you know, it's bolted on the bottom, so I have that bolt going down through this dual USB charging port system that I have that's wired into my motorcycle's battery. And then so the bolt on this actually holds this entire assembly into a factory bolt hole that was already here. So that worked out great. So I suggested to them, you know, coming up with an option like that. Like I said, the initial idea I gave them for a mount similar to this wasn't quite as elegant as this one. This one's nicer, to be honest, than the idea I had, but I did want it to be adaptable, you know, flexible, so you could reposition your camera. So I really love that they listened to those ideas that I spitballed at them. And now you, me, all of us that ride and use action cameras benefit from the feedback that I gave and probably other people gave to Insta360. They took it to their engineers and they came up with this wonderful new mount for our action cameras. And I think that's just really, really fantastic. You know, that they take our feedback seriously. That's awesome. Just like Sony and some of the other companies out there do. Okay, so one of the things I wanted to share with you all real quick that I didn't really explain better earlier, and I apologize for that. These pieces here that are sloped and all of that, and they give you 3 different sizes of these. Now what these are for is if, unlike my sport bike, let's say you have a cruiser with the actual full set of handlebars that goes all the way across. On a lot of the cruisers, the ends of the handlebars are hollow. They just have caps slid into them, metal caps, or they could be plastic decorative caps or whatever. And you would just pop those out, and then you would use these on this mount to lock into there. So you would put these, you'd put this back on the center bolt like it was earlier before I took it off, and then you would slide this inside the hollow end of your handlebars. And as you turn the Allen key, when this assembly's all off, the part I showed you earlier, you turn using the Allen wrench and tighten up that center bolt. What these two pieces do is they separate and they kind of expand, and that's what makes them lock onto the inside of your handlebars. And they're grooved. I don't know how well you can see it in the video, but this metal is textured so that it'll bite and it'll grip on the inside of your metal handlebar tubes, so that the whole thing will stay stable and secure and won't go anywhere. So I thought I should explain that a little bit better, because I know I didn't earlier. I kind of apologize for that. But just so, you know, if you were scratching your head watching that segment earlier and wondering, well, what the heck are those weird looking things for? Because not everybody's seen these before, so I figured it was a good idea to explain it to you a little bit better. So that's what they're for. And then each one of those sets has this notch in it. And that's because on the inside, or on the end of this part here, there's actually a flange across the inside there. And you would butt this right up to that flange, and that locks this part tight so it can't spin or go anywhere. And so this is the anchor part, and then this is the part that as you turn the Allen wrench on the bolt, it expands and tightens up against the inside walls of your hollow motorcycle handle tubes. All right, so just a little bit better of an explanation on that. And again, I apologize for not going into better detail on this part earlier. All right, so now I'm getting ready to take my Ninja out for a ride with the new Insta360 Motorcycle Magic Arm mounted on here. I'm going to shoot the first series of video footage with my Insta360 X3 360-degree camera, and then I'll also shoot some content using this Ace Pro 2 that I'm filming this segment on right now, so you can see how both of them work on this new mount. So here I am, test with the Insta360 arm, and I've got my Cardo system inside my helmet paired as a microphone too, and we'll see if the audio works or not. I'm not sure if it's going to. I've never done this before. I know other motorcycle riders do it when they make YouTube content, vlogging style like this, so I'm hoping it works for me, but we'll have to see, to be honest, whether or not it's going to work. But I'll try it, and it's a nice sunny day out in Roxborough today, but it is a little bit chilly. I don't mind it as much, being I'm originally, I'm more used to cold weather than people that are native to the South. Doesn't bother me as much. It's only about 58 degrees right now, and of course when you're on a motorcycle and moving, that makes the ambient temperature drop about another. So basically it's like 38 degrees, which isn't too bad. You know, like I said, I'm used to it. You know, I've done this for many years. 16 and got my first road bike, which was a Honda Rebel at the time. And I worked at a factory in town called Paper Magic back home in Pennsylvania. My parents got in a bad car accident one year. Another lady hit them and totaled their car. Dad was messed up pretty bad. He was in the hospital for quite a long time, and my mom needed a vehicle to work. So I gave her my Toyota that I had at the time. I bought the Honda, and I started riding. And I rode it even in the dead of winter. I just put on gloves and a snowmobile suit, and I would ride to work anyways, as long as the roads were plowed. You know, like I said, being from the Northeast, I'm more used to the cold weather than other people now. I'm 55 nowadays, so I have less tolerance to the cold than I did when I was younger. Still handle it better than most native Southerners can. So that's always a plus. That's always, you know, helpful. A benefit to me, I guess you could say. And so we're just out taking a casual ride, testing out the new Insta Magic Arm mount. It works really great. I mean, this thing is tight on my motorcycle. It hasn't wiggled or moved at all, so it's definitely rock solid. Very well. I'm very
Looks like this is going to be my new favorite, my Insta360 motorcycles. Excited because I like to be able to film, you know, when I'm out for a casual ride. I like to be able to share that content sometimes as a YouTube like that, or on TikTok, or whatever the case may be. Or like this, I might decide I want to ride and do a vlog style video, like some of the Yami noob out there thought, and setup. It makes it for me to do both types of content, whether it's just shooting the scene ride, or if I'm filming vlog style like I am right now, using one of my cameras. This mount is going to give me extremely happy with it. Okay, so now for this segment of the video, I switched to using my Insta360 Ace Pro 2 camera. The filming using that right now. You know, just a few minutes of content with it. Again, this mount works really well. So happy the 360 with this game changer. I mean, for any of us that ride motorcycles, with cruiser or cafe style or street fighter or bike, crotch rocket, whatever, this kit has all the components you need to mount this motorcycle arm on any type of motorcycle. You know, so whether you got the clip-on handlebars like my sport bike does, or you have the full-length tube handlebar cruiser that go all the way across, you know, those are hollow tubes. Pop out the end cap on your left end of the handle, and you use those spacer things and that's how you lock it tight into the hollow tube on a set of full-length handlebars on a cruiser. So you got the best of both worlds. You're basically getting this clamp or this mount, all the parts you need for any type of motorcycle. So whether you got one size handlebars or another, I know there's a little bit of a variance between manufacturers on the diameter of their handlebars and stuff like that. So that's why you've got 3 different sets of those adjusters that go inside the hollow tube handlebars. They come in 3 different sizes, because handlebars can come in 2 or 3 different sizes. So it's great that Insta360 thought to include those, and basically they're giving you a fully universal kit for pretty much all types of motorcycles on the market. I think that's really fantastic of them to do that. I've got to reposition my bike a little bit here, over a little bit too far. There we go. And I just think it's really great that they thought of us, and they're accommodating us with this kit, you know, offering it as basically a universal kit so that it can be used with any style motorcycle.
All right, so as you were able to see, I was able to get this new mount unit on my Kawasaki Ninja, and took it out for a test ride using my Insta360 X3 360-degree camera, as well as I shot some footage with my handy-dandy Insta360 Ace Pro 2, which is what I'm filming these portions of this video using. And as you can see, this mount is really fantastic. I mean, it gives you a nice, secure, stable way to put your action camera on your motorcycle, whether you want to vlog or just shoot what's in front of you, or do 360 degree and then keyframe and post-production to different views that you want to use to make your content for social media, YouTube, whatever the case may be. You can see that this mount does a really great job. I love the fact that it's adjustable, so you can move it, you know, you can tilt it, swing it around, all that good stuff. But the important thing is, this particular kind of mount keeps the profile very small on your bike, so you don't have to worry about having a big selfie stick arm that's clamped on like I used to do on my motorcycle, where you got a long arm sticking out to the side of your bike, and you got to worry about whether or not it's going to be out too far and it's going to clip oncoming traffic and stuff like that. And you don't have to worry about that with this particular kind of mount, which is really fantastic. All right, I want to thank you all for taking the time to watch this video to the end. Please remember to smack that bell and subscribe button if you'd like to pick up one of the Insta360 Motorcycle Magic Arm mounts for yourself. I'll have a link down in the description below, and I will see you all again in the next video.